Oh, there we go. Alrighty, g'day guys. Welcome to, it was going to be 101 with PowerShell 101 with Mike and Christian. But yeah, Christian can't make it today, so it'll just be PowerShell 101 with Michael if that was going to be a bit boring. So yeah, we're probably going to just be continuing with some Pester tests and things like that. Just kind of want to get this project kicking along, and we hopefully can close this out. So yeah, welcome. Hope you guys stick around. Yeah, and hopefully we can get stuck into this. Ooh, there's actually some, I can actually see some thingies from the camera. It's actually pixeling, so give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna see if I can fix that. Yeah, that's broken. Let me just deactivate and reactivate it. See if that fixes it. Nope, still there. Okay. That's gonna bug me. Let me just try something. Reconfigure the video. So in the next couple of weeks, there will be a meetup happening. So we'll be having a meetup in, I believe it'll be on the 31st. It won't be on the 30th just due to the fact that we can't get the room. So it'll be the 31st, which is fine. Yeah, so I'm going to be putting that information up tonight. Hope you guys stick around. Also, in other unrelated news, I've also created a Bruce Pug channel. So this channel is basically going to be the official Bruceman PowerShell user group channel. I will be doing pull requests to get that into PowerShell Live and things like those kinds of things. But definitely recommend you guys go follow it. So for the first little bit of time, I'm going to basically just be hosting those meetups so that basically we can build the viewers onto that channel. But at the same time though, you guys will still be getting all the Microsoft PowerShell Michael goodness. We'll be pumping it up with yeah, more PowerShell. So once this project's finished, I do have a list of things that we've kind of got in the pipeline. So it's really going to be depending on if those guys, whether we get availability in that. So it's still there. Oh well, it is what it is. So let's get stuck into it. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to need to actually continue our Pester jobs. So I'm just going to quickly fire this up. So basically what we've got here is we've got a couple of Pester tests that we've got set up. So I'm just going to close all this so I don't confuse myself. So we've got just kind of mulling it over because I kind of need to make sure I know which one I'm looking at. Start job, send job. I think it's start job. Yep. Okay. So we've got HTTP start job, which basically is sending the request to the Azure function to put in the database. Then we've got HTTP request job. HTTP request job is basically it's building on that in the original test. So g'day Glenn, hope you're doing well, mate. So we have the original Pester test, which is basically doing the start job. So that's creating the job, obviously get the response back. So then basically we're going to request a job. That's going to then send a job. So it's going to independently create a new job, send it along, then receive that job, make sure that everything's intact. The next one's going to be basically sending that job back. So basically we're slowly incrementing that process. So the next part of the process will be, which is going to be today, is we're going to be sending the job, receiving the job, running the job, sending the job back. So it's going to be more off request job, and then basically from that, then we got the final part, which will be HTTP receive job. So let's grab HTTP request job and let's chuck it in here. Oops. It also helps if like actually no. So we're going to actually be executing now. The execution that we're going to be doing is really basic, so it's not going to be anything special. It's just going to be a write output. And nothing too special there. One of the things that I did spend a bit of time with Glenn last time, I'll quickly show you because I do think it's pretty cool. So, where we go, HTTP receive job here. So to actually test it, what I did was, not that, is it receive job? Now oh sorry, it's not receive job, it's request job. So what I've done here is, if we have a quick look down here, so it's a bit of a roundabout way of doing it, but what it will do here is it'll take the call XML from the job, obviously index. So this is just for four individual jobs, and then basically index each of those jobs within a for each object, and then basically execute it. So that was a pain to get working. I thought I had it pretty down flattened, but then I just couldn't get it to work. So I just created a create a script block and then invoke it, and then it works. So I don't have to worry about any of that dot sourcing stuff, and then just create the script block, invoke it, and then I can pipe it. So yeah, cool. It's cool. It's really cool. Anyway, so now basically we're at HTTP send job. So first thing we've got, I also added invoke SQL cleanup. So I don't remember if you saw that, but basically I just added I've just got a SQL statement there, so it imports the module, AC module, and then just adds. To be honest, we don't even need this, but it requires it. So it'll pull the password in, and then basically just does a cleanup, so it keeps our rows nice and hunky-dory, so we're not flooding our database, which is really good. So I can just call that, and it'll just go clean things up, which is really good. Anyway, so what are we doing today? We are doing a send job. So first things first, we're going to update our URL endpoint. So like so, single job. We're going to first things first. Context. Just so you know, Glenn, like these last couple of weeks, like all I've been doing is Pester. Also, I think you'd be like, actually, I'll pop that down there. You'd be like super proud of me. So a couple of days ago, I put a continuous integration and delivery pipeline in for Azure DevOps. So now with our internal PowerShell module function, what it does is I've got Pester tests that run on a pull request from development into master branch. So it'll basically do Pester tests and PS script analyzer tests, and then basically from that, once the test is successfully pulled, then it actually will go to the release pipeline. And the release pipeline will then basically package the script up, put versioning on it, basically depending on what the I was going to use Pester, but it's baby steps at the moment, so the next step is to use Pester. But basically package the script up, send it, and then from that I have a because it's internal, and so it's internal client, so it can't be hosted on an internal PS script gallery or something like an internal chocolatey, because it is out in the wild for clients. What I did was it then basically uploads to a blob storage, and then the blob storage has a there's just like a manifest file that sits on there that it automatically updates, and basically updates the hash table or the file hash and all that kind of stuff on there. So, and I was like, and then when I ran it, and then I got it to work, and then I just thought, I had to actually do a release earlier this week to bring it up to scratch with PS script analyzer, and it just worked flawlessly, and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. I just thought it was so great. It took a little while to get my head around, but the thing was, like, once I got it working, I was so pleased, just because of the it's just having your Pester test run, you have complete confidence in your code, and not having to deal with anything like that. So yeah, I was so happy. I was so happy. But the thing is that it's all a learning curve. My next part will be I want to do unit testing with C#, so that's the next big one, and also I need to do I want to do PowerShell module packaging with Pester, so that's going to be my next thing. But we've got a talk coming up on Meetup. I think it's not this month, but next month with Alex Laurie, we'll do a talk on Pester. So once I get a bit of an idea of how Pester works, then I'll basically redo the entire build process with Pester, which is going to probably be another daunting task because I'm going to need to rearrange everything, and then with like obviously dependencies and within the module and things like that, it's going to be a worry. So, but yeah, anyway. Standing testing. Anyway, so we got testing standard standard request. And we're going to a standard response because we actually sent a response back to our push. So should not be null. That's fine for each request. Refresh the REST query. So before all, but if it works after you move everything, your test prove it works. Well, that's exactly right. Like I actually wrote I wrote a Pester test that basically I've wrote a Pester test that actually validates the module structure. So that's one of the key components for a pass. So if the module structure is not intact, it'll actually fail. So yeah, you're right. So all I gotta do is rewrite that test to the Pester module structure, and then I'm done. And realistically, I don't even need to do a pull. I can just run it locally until I get it right, and then basically make my pull in. So, but that's on the to-do. It's like baby steps. I'm gonna do baby steps. So, but it's yeah. I'm so happy though, because I think like for me the biggest thing is that, like, for example, the module good story. So this kind of translates into a story. I'm going to kind of work while I chat. So I'm going to leave that. And so what happened was I had a this is actually like, it's kind of really annoying, but we have script directories, so we just got script repositories for all our code. So just basically got on-premise script that goes in there. All your your code. Yeah, 100% baby steps. Yep. Celebrate small wins. Yep, 100%. Because if you don't celebrate your small win, you're never going to get there. But the thing that I found was that there was a pull request done, and this is where I'm like, you were talking about gated pipelines and things like that. There was a pull request done that basically was done by another a colleague of mine. And now, admittedly, admittedly, my Git skills are not, like I use the GitHub desktop. Like I do not know the Git command line. So when I'm doing the PS conf book, I'm stuffing up so hard. I'm trying to fix issues within the command line. And I'm like, oh, this is really tough. But that all aside, the thing that I found was that let's go quickly go to start job. Was that, sorry, I just quickly need to think for a sec. The thing that I found was that it was, oh, that's an actual one thing. Where is it? Send job, start job. They didn't do a pull, so they didn't actually, like, they had this this branch checked out for ages, and then when they go to check it and they basically did a pull into development, they basically pulled everything in, and what happened was it overwrote all my updated code, and there was a specific piece of code that I needed, and you don't need, like, I didn't need till about a year later, because that's when the code signing certificate expired. Code signing certificate expired, I go to update this piece of code, and I'm looking at the code going, this doesn't look right. And then I had to backtrack through the pull request to find this thing, and it was like one of the hardest jobs I've ever had to do, to go pull out a commit that basically go back to that previous commit, pull that one out, and then basically go and review all the other changes, and then cherry pick all those changes out, and then pull them and merge them all back in. So anyway, yeah. So that was my, sorry, yeah. Yep, long live the branches are horrible. Yeah, they are. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go computer name. This is really bad, but I'm just kind of like, I'm just kind of getting this done. Did I define it? Yep, I did. It's too long. I do not want to splat it. It just means I'm going to have to. Start job body. Yeah, I'm going to have to splat it. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Computer name code. So what we need to do is I've got start job body. Then I need to get receive job body. No, it's request job body. And then I'm just going to do this. I'm looking at it going, oh, I just can't like leave it alone because I'm like, it's just the OCD inside of me. So we got the computer name. We don't need that. Don't need that. I'm just gonna go to request job. What did he put in there? Start job body. Didn't need that. Just need this. So I'm just gonna do this so I don't muck it up. Like so. And then I don't even need to specify the method. I just go at params, like so. Everything's good with the world. I also used the where method today. So it's actually like, I was kind of thinking about it and I was like, this is an excellent candidate for a where method. So using the where method, you've got the first, obviously you've got the script block as your first element, what's the word? Parameter within, I think it's not technically parameter inside a method. I'm just going to use parameter. So it's the first parameter inside the method, and the second parameter you can dictate what kind of, how that response should be. So I just use the first response. So it'll basically return the first known response that meets the script block condition. And it was, in this instance, I was just basically enumerated all domain controllers, and then went and got the first domain controller that was successful in a testnet connection, and that was going to be my domain controller that I was going to be using to use to do Active Directory work. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So we're going to need to get we're going to need request job. What do I need? REST response. We're going to send job. But this is literally confusing me. It's always great when it confuses you. So we're going to need to get, what we're going to do is go job parameters, like so. REST response. So with REST response, we're going, I'm not going to call that, I'm going to call it request job REST response, so that we know is our response. I'm just going to call it, we don't need REST response, we just need response. So that's our response. We then need to execute it. So what we can do here, we just grab this piece of code. Like so. Like that. We don't even need that. We can then grab that and then put that is our execution response, like so. We need to code it, so like so. Convert from base 64. Plain text. Look at that. Look at that awesome one. It's plain text, Michael. Plain text. Did I do it down here? I bet you I did. Yep. Grab that. Fix that. Test fixed. Okay, so I'm going to go plain text. Plain text. We're going to capture the response, and this is where we can actually start our tests. So now we get to send our response back. So let's send our response back. So first thing we need to do is we need to serialize it. So how do we do that? We do it like this. So if we've got so step number 1, let's have a quick mess around in this. So if we go like that, I'm just going to go write host. Yep. Oh no, we're going to write output. And we're just going to do this. Yep. Oh no, not that, Michael, not that. We're going to go yes. And then we're going to go a equals. Yep. Then if we go invoke, we should get a right output, which we do. Now we need to capture that. So if I go convert, I'm just going to do something. I know like we're just, okay, perfect. So what I can just do here is I can just do this. Convert to base 64. So that'll basically invoke it, capture the output, and reconvert it back to base 64. So we basically just have a base 64 string we're working with. And then we get to send our response back to our server. So, then we have HTTP send job. Let's have a look at what the actual expected input is. GUID, response body, status code. Sweet. So, that's what we need to send. So, first things first, let's define our body. I'm just going to define the so we're just going to go params equals hash table. I'm just going to paste that there, put a thing there, like that. Yep, that's fine. So what we can do here is we're URI. We need that. Method is post. Body is gonna be this. Squid is equal to that. Is equal to execution response. Status code. Response. URI. So method posts, probably put a content application JSON, and then I'm going to convert the body to JSON, so it's all nice and hunky-dory. And I think that's about it. So URI, URI endpoint. So now we just need to get the GUID. So the GUID, if we go HTTP request job. It only returned the job, but we don't need, we need the GUID. So the GUID is, it's going to be up in here. So the GUID's going to be returned in this old mate. So what we can do, where is it? Because we need that GUID so we can update it. Otherwise it doesn't know what it's doing. I'm pretty sure this returns a GUID. Oh, okay. Just gonna go request job, see what it's actually returning. This is a big no-no. It is. And I did a big no-no, and I didn't even test it. It should have had a GUID. So I've gone rest response.jobs. Should not be null. And then it should have at least had .count. So testing the response. GUID property. Jobs. GUID property like so. So we now know it says a GUID. So that means that should all be what I need, I think. Because basically we're expecting the result. I was going to do this. And then I'm going. So there should be 4 GUIDs back if there was 4 requests. Sweet. All right. We're cooking. We are cooking with gas. Let me just quickly check, see what's going on. I'm just watching the stocks at the moment, and there's today's been an absolutely crazy day, and we might actually move up 2 points. There's a lot of buying happening. They want to move up. Like we literally got an hour to go, and there's one seller on 0.8, and literally people have been trying to dump on 0.8 to hold it down. But there's been such a flurry of buyers right now that, like, I have never seen this many buyers today on the stock ever. Like, I was just completely blown away. Anyway, back to what I was doing. So, URL endpoint, yep, GUID, yep. So now we've got our response. We can actually go ahead and actually send it. So now we're going to send it. So now we're going to send a response back. So this is counting on the fact that there's no issues with this. I don't envisage any issues, but you don't know. So what's our expected response from such a response? So if we do a HTTP send job, we should get a success. So that's pretty much it. So this is actually going to be a pretty easy test. So all we need to do, and the thing is that when we're doing multi-tests, so if we're sending multiple tests back, that's really easy to do. So we don't actually need to do it for this, because at the end of the day, though, it's not concatenating tests. Sorry, it's not concatenating. It's not batching responses back. It's sending an individual response. So we can kind of get away with that. So what I'm looking for is that is our expected response. So I'm just going. I'm just going to put this as my input. Expected response. Oh, no, don't do that, Michael. Don't do that. So, I'm just going to do this. When I was at a Ignite conference, some person tried to tell me that JSON was ugly to read, and I'm like, I can read it. It's not that hard. And then we had YAML. I'm like, Jason, like, if you want to read something hard, try and read CLI XML. That's hard. Reading XML is even easy, but trying to read CLI XML, yeah, that now you got your work cut out for you, because basically PowerShell is like trying to preserve type. Yeah, that's actually something really interesting about WinRM that I never knew, but when Jordan actually showed via he wrote Jordan's actually got a really good article about WinRM, Windows remoting, and and it's PowerShell, PowerShell remoting and WinRM, and it's very, very interesting because PowerShell remoting, he's talking like you actually see how it communicates with each other, and he was showing it on a packet level, and it was very interesting to watch because PowerShell uses CLI XML to serialize and deserialize, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Obviously not for the person trying to read it, but at the same time though, like it's kind of understandable. Like it's a really good CLI XML is really, really good if you want to preserve an object rather than having anyway, expected response. So there's my response. So now I can actually write my test. So after all, yep, here's my test. So testing initial response. We're looking for should not be null. We're looking for success. Property. So that should just be should not be null. Response.success should not be null. And it should be true. And so all that can go. Yamba. Actually, I don't like REST response. I should have just called it test response because that's really what it's doing. We don't need this because we just don't need to test that. Now we need to test for errors. So this is where things get fun. Because ultimately I'm going to need to do another before all here and rebuild that entire initial query. Oh, is it? Hang on. yes, I'm going to need to rebuild that query because it's going to be cleaned up. So that all needs to be redone. There's got to be a better way to do that, to be honest. There's got to be a better way to do this. But, well, we'll just get this done like so. So paste that in there, and then what we're going to do here is I'm going to put, oh, see, this is the problem. I'm going to, we're sending it errors. We know that we're sending it errors. And this is the tough part, because if it succeeds, hypothetically, that's getting passed back to the user, which means we actually need to destroy and recreate it for each test. So it's not even going to be a before all, it's going to be a before each and an after each. Wow, this is the first time I've had to do this. And it'll clean it up after each test. So we're sending it multiple bad results, but it needs to be able to build that initial query out. Yeah, this part's going to be really long to run, I reckon, because of just the nature of being able to test that. So, so what we're going to do is do this. So grab all that. Just got to build an environment and tear it down. It's like, I actually think this is probably even better. Like if you want to improve performance, you could just have this firing off as a PowerShell job, and then just use concurrency to sort that out. Anyway, REST response, parameters. So what we need to do here, this is where it's going to get really, really, really dirty. After each, it's going to clean up its response. So what we're going to do is we're going to be testing missing properties for each of these. So we're going to be testing missing GUID property. I'm looking for success equals failed. Success equals false, like so. So first thing we need to do is remove the GUID, and we're just going to send that back. And then we're going to basically test our response. This is like really mind-boggling. So, oh, see, this is the problem. This is a big problem. See, if the property doesn't exist, it's technically going to pass the test. Okay, we need to test it. How am I going to test this? This is where I'd use test object property, because I could just go test object property, blah. But well, first one's going to be looking for a response, and then we're going to need to, actually we can just use a result. Invoke trap errors. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't splat. This is a pain. This is seriously a pain. This is the biggest problem I have with script blocks, is the fact that you cannot pass, you can pass variables, but you can't splat. So if I try and splat directly in that script block, it's just not going to work. This really annoys me because it breaks my But at the end of the day, though, I can still declare it, and then like I can just pass it through to still keep it as neat as possible. Response should not be null. There should actually be a response. If there's not, then we've got problems. So that's my first one. It's going to tear it down, and it's going to rebuild it. This is where this is how I'm going to do it. We're expecting a specific value, but the problem with Boolean is the fact that if I say, let's just say A, because A is already in there. If I go A dot is equal to false, that's false, really? Is equal to null? Okay, maybe that should be fine. Okay, I think we'll be right. So if I invoke trap errors, then I'm gonna go we got success. No, that's not gonna be it. I'm invoke rest method there, yep. I just need to quickly have a look at my response. Success dot true dot is equal to true. So if I say success should be false. If it's null, then it doesn't exist. If it does, fantastic. And it needs to be false. The value needs to be false. Perfect. Let's tear it down. Let's create a new test. Oh shoot, I'm looking for test response. Missing GUID property. Tear that. So now we're going to do. Let's get rid of that. Missing GUID and response body. Response body, and then we're just gonna, like, we know that it's not gonna work, so we're fine with that. So let's just change. So we're gonna put it all back, and then we're actually gonna change it. So what we're gonna do here is grab old matey, and what we're gonna do here is we're going to I just remembered something. I need to come back and sort that out. So, and it will be success. That is how you spell success. But what we're going to do is we're going to change that misspelled property. property, test for status is false. Then we're going to tear it down again, and we're going to do another test. And we're just going to add an extra item in there. It's going to be a legitimate response, and then we're just going to call this random val equals true. Test test invalid property. Looking for a looking for failure response, looking for a failure response, and we're going to look for another failure response, and we're going to look for another failure response, and we're going to be pretty much good to go. My English is terrible, but yeah, we'll get there. Alright, so that should be that. That should be pretty much it. This bottom half of it's going to take so long to run, because basically what it's doing, it needs to be able, it actually it goes through the entire process, and realistically I actually could improve that process by just writing directly to the database. Maybe I should just do that. That might be something where we can just do to improve that process later down the line, so that it, rather than not relying on the function itself, it can just put straight into the database row. All this talk phase reminds me of phase to the left of me, phase to the right. I don't get it. So yeah. Well, first things first, let's have a quick squiz at SandJob, because this is going to tell me how most of these are going to work, what we should expect a response to be. Possibility grid, yep. There was a start job, and this is the one I want. So that last test is going to fail, so if we put an invalid property in there, that's going to completely bum out. So I'm just going to add that bad boy. For each SandJob, oh, that's the test. Get rid of that. Just make sure I'm not messing with anything that I shouldn't be. Stuck in the middle of you. Oh. Okay, now it makes sense. So we have SandJob. I'm just going to have a quick look at this function. And I'm just going to tack old matey on the end. L old mato, and I'm just going to say 0, 1, 2. How many am I sending back? What's my expected response? 0, 1, 2. Fantastic. No. It goes there. That goes. So that's a not. That's a not. That goes there. That goes there. Count's 0 based. I've just had this massive memory blank. Count's 0 based, isn't it? I think it's. I just can't remember. Now I'm just going to quickly test. Create an array. It's not. thought it was zero based. It is. It's zero based. Don't worry about me. I literally I just don't know why. I just had this massive memory blank thinking it's not zero base for some reason, and then I was thinking, it mustn't be zero base, and then I'm thinking, no, everything is zero base, so why wouldn't it be? So 0, 1, 2, yep, there's your 3 values, that's fine. Let's run it. I think that's the next step. So we need to open up Visual Studio Code to get to debug land. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to bot project functions. We're going to go open folder. We're going to go BrizBug, demos, PowerShell bot demo, user account. No, that's no, I'm going to go again. PowerShell script tests. Okay, I'm going to close this one down because we don't need it anymore. So we're in the right workspace. So I'm going to rerun send job just to make sure that I haven't broken it, and then we'll run a request job. So step number 1, let's start our functions. Alrighty, now we're cooking with gas. Alright, so let's run our tests. Which one are we running? We're running request job. That's the one we're running our quick test on. So just want to make sure this completely passes before I jump to the next one, because I don't particularly want to run something that's not working. Yeah. So while waiting on that, I'm just going to check the stock and see if it actually is correct, which I don't think it will. It might not. There is 10 minutes. Will someone buy $20,000? Oh, sorry. Will someone buy like $100 worth of stock? Potentially. But then basically someone else has to buy, then have to buy at the next price up. But we will see. I don't think it's going to happen today. I don't think they're going to change. Looks like it's running. Okay, test pass 17. Good. Let's run this bad boy and see what happens. Oh shoot. It's already stuffed because what have I done here? Context, testing standard response. We don't even need that. So that's step number 1. Clean that up. What's this context? Testing standard response should not. Why the hell did I write that? Should contain errors. Contain errors. Alrighty. So, first issue, 58. Error code in the context block. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's probably something's going on here. So what we need to check is we're gonna need to breakpoint that. Plain text. That should be fine. Hang on, what am I doing? I'm sending a job back. That should be fine. Oh. What am I doing here? Send job. What's going on here? Don't tell me it didn't save and I just lost all my work. I don't think that's the case. Because I'm tearing down all my values there. I've got my context block there. No, I'm just in the wrong segment. Okay, so I think there's going to be an issue here. So that's where I reckon what's going. Something's not playing ball. So response bodies, execution response, request.bodies.grid. So I'm just going to whack a breakpoint there. Let's jump into debug land and take a look at it. That debug really did work. I don't think it even hit it. It didn't even hit that. Fantastic. Okay, so computer name, start body, true body, yep. Invoke that, yep. I'm just gonna whack it there then. No, didn't work. Okay, let's go further up. Let's just chuck one there. Launch current file. Nope. Is it even debugging? I don't even think it's debugging. Is it literally? I think it's actually hung. I'm just gonna restart it. That's good. Are we in a debug session? Are we not? Oh, there we go. Yay, we've hit a breakpoint. Fantastic. All right. Yes. You work. Shift F11. That works. Let's go to the next one. Oh, excuse me. Up, that works. Okay, perfect. Let's just have a quick look at its following one. It's gonna fail. It's gonna fail on that one, or maybe it might. Oh no, it shouldn't. Oh, it's failed there. Okay. So Shift F5. So what we've got is something not playing ball there. I don't think it's going to be there. I think it's going to be here. So we're just going to do this. Like so, and then we're going to, it's completely hung, so we just restart it. Yep, there we go. Let's see if this runs. Oh, better check to make sure that it's not getting too dark. Oh, it is getting dark. Oh, okay. It is failing for some reason. It's failing on this. That's unusual. I'm just going to Control C that. Okay, that's very unusual. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to quickly brighten up the screen. I should actually just write a PowerShell script to do this. Bigger video, exposure, yeah, make it a bit brighter, perfect. Okay, so why are you failing? Why are you failing? What is causing old mate to fail here? You've got the local host, computer name. I'm gonna suss this one out before we execute it and make sure there's nothing wrong with it. Because it could just be something like that, which I don't think it will be, because computer name's already defined, so it's been declared, so yeah. Alright, let's have a look at this object. Oh, sorry, this hash table. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, let's just see what response we get back. Interesting. Interesting. It's actually legitimately failing for some reason. HTTP start job. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, that's the reason why it's failing, because it's on a start job. It's not a request job, so it's the wrong bloody URI. Derp. Okay, that's fine. So I can clean that up. That's all we can do there. Let's go to request job. Grab old mate. Grab him there. Put him there. But actually, what I'm going to do the old find and replace O. With what we're going to do is to find old mate like that. And we'll go back here. I'm just going to do this. Copy that. And we're going to just do that. Look at that. That is how you win. Good old find replace. Make sure we're in the right one. Send job. In the wrong one. Actually, it wouldn't matter because it won't find it. So that's fixed. Now I'm just wondering if that would break it on this one. Technically speaking, it would. So it's starting a job. It's requested the job. All right, well, see how we go. See what's going on. So we fixed my stuff up there. So let's whack a breakpoint there, and then re-execute this. Alrighty. So if you guys are watching me and wondering what I'm actually doing in terms of an actual project and what the bigger scheme is basically usually Wednesdays is PowerShell 101 with Michael and Christian, and Christian can't make it today. So what I'm doing is we're building a remote execution bot using PowerShell and Azure Functions. So basically what happens is you have a client which basically sends to an Azure function, nominates a computer, and then basically with some serialized PowerShell code, which will then get sent to the Azure function. The Azure function then stores it in a database. This is a separate Azure function that would retrieve it, and this is the Azure function that's executing and sending the job back. And then basically, obviously, being able to retrieve it. So it's similar to an Azure Automation Hybrid Runbook Worker. The reason why is just obviously for just as a bit of a project for Christian to actually learn. So I'm kind of just going through and cleaning up and doing all the Pester tests for it. So there is a C# service that I've still got to write. I've kind of started writing it, but I'm just kind of want to get this done and dusted so I don't have to deal with that. So let's see what happens here. So here's our body. I just want to have a look at our parameters. Ooh, okay. See that? Let's write 2 responses back. That is going to break. And that's bad. That's really bad. So it before anything happens, we need to ensure SQL is clean because there might be a rogue row in there from me breaking the tests. So by me doing it before all, when the job starts, that should ensure that everything's hunky-dory without actually having to, so for us having to deal with that again. So, oh wait, it's still hung, so we're going to need to can that, restart that. Scroll down to old mate here. And then start it. So, oh, okay. Okay. We probably need to have it there because it actually needs to dot source the value in before it actually can do anything. So now it's doing a quick cleanup. Once that's done, then we should hit our block. should contain errors. Oh, wait. Should not contain. Should contain. Testing. Testing for success property. I'm just going to rename that down here. Testing for failures. So, what we can do is we can just keep carrying on. It's fine. Yep. Let's see what's going to happen here. So, it's failed, clearly. Let's have a look what's going on here. Missing computer name, code property, or invalid property. That's what it's whinging about. So, what job's it? Sun job. Missing computer name, code property, or invalid property. It also helps if I actually name my properties correct. So, we can actually just exit debug. So yeah, go ahead, terminate it. So what I think is going on here, GUID, response body, status code. Looks good. Let's go have a look at old matey over here. So this is HTTP send job here. Just want to make sure, yep, it's executing that one. That's its expected input. Did we make a boo-boo here? I think we might have. What's going on here? Here we go. GUID, response body, status code. GUID. Property or invalid property. So let's whack a debugger on it and have a look at here. So that is our next stop. So what we can do here in our Azure function is we're going to stop it. So we're just going to Control C and shut it down. So now it's shut down. We're going to need to get it to that point. So what we're going to do is reattach it. It's before the SQL statement, which is fantastic. So now we've reattached it. What we can do here is I'm just going to F8 this bad boy into memory. So it's just going to tear everything down, make sure everything's hunky-dory, and then we're going to build it up. And then we're going to execute our before all. So we're going to actually do our initial requests. So we're going to basically send a job, receive a job, execute that job, and then we can actually start messing around with the response. So what we're going to do here is this. Like so. And that will just execute all the bits and pieces. It's not going to get caught because we're not we're only we're only got a breakpoint on this. Oh crap. I just realized I didn't put a wait debugger in there. Alright. This is going to be cool. So I'm just going to terminate the job. That's fine. Yep, that's fine. You can complain about that. I'm going to do a wait debugger like so. You need to put wait debuggers in your functions for you to hook a debugger into it. So that's going to fail. That's fine. We can just tear it down and rebuild it. So it's just tearing it down. Now let's just quickly. So now if we restart this function, HTTP send job. I'm just going to make sure we're on the right one. Once this is done, like so, then we can rebuild it like so. So we can just re-execute this, and now we can hook in. So the next part here is we're going to actually figure out why this is not playing ball. So what we can do here is now when we do a F8 this bad boy, it's going to hang because we're basically waiting. And now if I reload my function, there we go. Now I'm actually debugging. So let's have a quick look at the request body. That's fine. I'm just going to run this commandlet, see what it's doing. Oh, test object property. Yep, that's fine. What's its count? It's 3. Really? Really? I thought it was 0 based. Oh, that's for an array. However, for a hash table, let me just spin up a new one. Let's just create a new hash table for a sec. Test equals 1, test 2 equals 2, hash table.count. It's a hash table. It's not an array. That's why. That is why. Okay, sweet. So it's not equal to 3. That's what we're fixing. So now if we actually execute, we can actually re-execute this and force a success. So it just crashed. Or not, but that's okay. So we fixed this part. So that's good. That's really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of the wait debugger. Actually, I'm just going to comment it out. We're going to pray that there's no issues after the SQL query because I'm counting on it, obviously with secure strings. Hang on, I just want to see if this. Thanks for the stream. Catch you later. My internet just died. Yeah, NBN. No worries, mate. Take care, Glenn. So what I'm going to do is it's probably closed. And it's closed with 20,000 in volume. Okay. So that's good news though. So what we can do is restart old mate. So it's now re-executing our function. We can now tear this. Actually, we don't even need to because it's still technically not, like, it's still in its state. So we can actually re-execute it. So if I rerun this should do something. And we should actually get a response. Well, that's actually a good response. That isn't. That is not a good response. Not a good response at all. Succeeded. So it's responded, and I'm just gonna, yeah. That's weird. This should fail. So what's going on here? Status code is status. Yep, body. Because I'm sending the body back. Fix that up. That'll reload it. So if I pass this through, we should actually get our legitimate response. And then we'll be good to go. So how did that fail? There was a problem executing the command. We're good. Okay, that's fine though. We can tear it down and rebuild it. So let me tear this down. We can actually probably just execute this now and see what happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to breakpoint that and rerun it, because at the end of the day though, it's going to tear itself down, and it should just build itself back up now, and we shouldn't have any issues. While we're waiting for that, I'm just going to update the, we're just going to put a breakpoint. I'm just going to F11 this. This should be a legitimate response. There should be no response. There shouldn't have any issues. And it's having issues. Okay. So there's an issue. There's a problem with actually the SQL query. That's fine. So that's completely fine. So what we can do here, we need to suss out why there is a problem with the SQL query and what's actually causing it to break. So, update DBO, remote execution, set status where output XML is GUID, and that, and that. So, I can't go any further than this, because if I go any further than this, the function will break. So, what we need to do right here is we need to update, to make that camera a bit brighter. Update exposure. Haha. There we go. Exposure's upgraded. Okay. Oh, now it's really quite slow because of the exposure. Okay, give me 2 secs. Give me 2 secs. I can fix this. Yeah, that's really quite slow. So I think the issue with this is if it's setting status, it could just, yeah, I think I'm just going to have to grab a copy of the code and see what it's trying to do. I think what it's trying to do is, I think the SQL is not, oh, I think I just, no, I didn't break it. I thought I broke my monitor for a sec. I think the SQL is not properly executing, but that's fine. I think it's just due to a bad query. There we go. I'll just fix that. Did I break my screen? No, it's fine. And I'll just turn the brightness up. Look at that. Alrighty. Back to okay, sweet. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to whack a breakpoint on that, like so. We know that, I'm just going to do a wait debugger here. Actually, where's the wait debugger? Response body, status code, response body, GUID. Status code, response body, GUID. Just checking it. GUID, response body, status code. Yep, that's fine. So that data's being sent. So basically, I'm just going to whack a wait debugger here. We're going to put an F9 there. We cannot proceed past SQL this because Azure Functions will not handle or debug the Azure PowerShell debugger within Azure Functions causes issues with secure strings. So yeah, that's fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hook it in, and we're just going to kind of work out what this query is, and then I'm going to jump in SSMS and then work it out. While we're waiting on that, let's head back and start rebuilding this. So first thing we need to do is clean up. Oh, I need to re-execute it. Then we're going to build it up. Once that's done, like so. Oh, make sure I got all of it. F8. Like so. Okay, sweet. Now we're wait for that query to be created. I'm going to have a quick look in SSMS. Well, my goal is to try and get this done today, so I'm probably going to be finishing soon, but we'll see how we go. I want to try and at least get this done today. There's absolutely nothing in here. I, 'cause, 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 ' should see this Pester test in here. Yep, there it is. So status is queued, computer name, yep, perfect. So now we're going to work out what the hell's going on. So we've basically we've executed, we've created the job, that's all ready to go now. So now if we actually run this command, which is just going to basically build our response, we can then head back to our Azure function, which is now hooked and it's ready to, we can restart it. And now we're actually hooked in. Background progresses, name pipe targets. Okay, that's fine. All right, so I'm not particularly, like, I can't go any further, but that's fine because what we're going to do is have a look at the body. So it's going to grab a copy of this, chuck it in a notepad. And we know the issue is to do with executing. That was the feedback that we got. So what we can do here is we're just going to grab old mate like so, and we're just going to see what happens when we do an execution. So set status is status code like so. And it shouldn't be response, actually. It should be complete or something along those lines. Then we have set CLI.XML. Actually, could it be another one further down? Nope, it's going to be this one. Then it's going to be set output CLI.XML will be that. And the GUID is going to be that. And now we can actually check it in here. And so it should be A22. Yep, everything looks to be legit. Where GUID is equal to that. Let's run it, see what happens. Okay, so there's an issue here. Okay, so there is an issue with it. So select status to that. Yeah, let's see if that's it. That's cute. Look at that, perfect. So now if we rerun it, perfect, and there's our response. Look at that. So now we're cooking with gas. So it's just basically a simple fault right there. That's fine. So what I'm going to do is exit, kill that, exit that. Process is stopped. That's fine. I'm going to clean that up. And then what we're going to do now is we've got that completed. So we're going to jump back in here. Got REST response params. We're going to have to rebuild it, but that's okay. So first thing I'm going to do is do a quick find. I'm actually going to do a quick one of these. Yep, that's fine. And I'm going to replace it with oh, actually no, it's complete. Like so, that fixes that part up. Okay, so now we're actually sending a complete response back, which is cool. So what we can do now is let's restart our functions. Function start. Wait for that to kick in. Once we've got that, then we can actually keep going. So we've now started that. We can actually start building this. We can actually probably even run this test now because we can just hook it into the debug. So see how we go. G'day Shane, how you going, mate? So now if we re-execute, oh, did I leave a wait debugger in there? I did. Control C, we're stopping it. We're stopping it. We're going to get rid of that wait debugger, and we're going to get rid of that breakpoint, and then we're going to go function host start. I'll let you know if I have a copy. Oh, that's right. It's morning over there, isn't it? Yeah, so I'm thinking, I've got my thing. I actually have to tear this down. Oh, do I? No, I don't. I don't actually have to tear this down because I haven't done anything yet. So we should be all right. If I do a quick query, select top 1000, we should get a response. Yep, so we're in queued state. So now, if I rerun this, F8, might leave it. I'm going to probably leave it soon. Oh, it's still crashed. Why has it crashed? Why have you crashed? What's it whinging about? Error. There's a problem updating. Yeah. What is wrong with that? Did it tear it down? No. 2 set statements. Oh my god. Yep. Yep. I completely fobbed that one up. Yep. Thanks, mate. I saw, like, I corrected it and then I didn't realize that I fobbed it up. So, thanks, mate. So I'm gonna stop this, trash that, restart that. While I'm waiting on that. I'm actually, can you guys give me a few minutes? I'm just gonna quickly chuck some music on. I'm just gonna quickly go AFK because I want to say goodnight to my bub. So give me 2 secs. Alrighty, I'm back. I am back. Alrighty, let's get back into it. So, let's clean up those set statements, which we've done like that. So that's cleaned up. That's restarted. Let's just restart these tests. Let's see how we go. Oh crap, I'm running the wrong tests. Fantastic. I'm just going to stop it. These tests are going to work, so I'm just going to stop them. Wait for it to stop. Well, I'm waiting for that. Alright, I'm just going to turn that off. Yeah, I'm just going to turn that off. Don't know what's going on there. Don't know what's going on there. Alright, I'll just, yeah. Yes. Oh, don't tell me it's completely monged. It's monged. Okay, I'm just gonna stop that, and then I'm gonna This is what, yeah. Sometimes VS Code kind of just completely locks up, and it's really annoying, but it is what it is. It's not terminating. I'm just going to stop this, and then I'm just going to force close VS Code, and we'll restart it. Pin back to taskbar. I'm going to go task manager, and we'll close it. There we go. Right when I actually got the reopen part, but that's alright. Okay, so we're gonna go. Let's see if we can actually. Yeah, it's gonna have to get BrisPug demos, bot project functions, bot projects like that. File, new window, and we're going to tests. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is just go function start. I'm going to restart old mate, and we're going to actually rerun our proper test. So we're not going to be doing that one, we're going to be doing this one, start job test. So once that's up and running, which it is, we can actually start our test. See how we go. Once this is done, I'm thinking, yeah, we'll probably call it for a night. So we'll see how we go. We will see how we go. Also, while I've got you guys, don't forget to follow the BrisPug channel. So I've recently created a Brisbane PowerShell user group channel. This channel is explicitly for all PowerShell meetups. Now, I will be hosting them via my channel, but it's basically just so that when we're actually hosting events and things like that, we get the sponsorship. So, oh, that's really good. We're getting our responses. We're getting our passes. So, what basically, yeah. So from, oh, we're going to get some broken bits there. That's fine. So what we'll need to, yeah. So if you guys go ahead and follow them, or you can stick around and check, just follow me. You can still catch the BrisPug meetups via my channel. But yeah, go and follow those guys, because it just means that, yeah, for our sponsorship, it's really important. So yeah, I really encourage you guys to go follow the BrisPug. The link, I'll see if I can post the link. It is just the BrisPug. Oh, that's the meetup. I think I actually didn't even put it in my channel. So it's just twitch.tv, and I think it's just BrisPug. I'll just quickly put it in the channel so you guys can go and follow it. Yeah. So that's it there. So go follow it if you're on Twitch. Yeah, because it'll mean a lot to us, especially for our sponsorship. Anyway, so we've got some failures. Ooh, interesting. So, but the main part is we've got our passes. So what we're going to do now, testing for failures. So what I'm looking for, so we've got execution response. So what's our first one? Looking for a failure, looking for a response. Testing missing GUID property. Okay, this is... Okay, so response isn't null, which is good. And then now we're testing, looking for a failure, and this is where we're getting some wonkiness. So what we can do here is I'm just going to whack a debug on that and see what we're actually getting out. Is there a way we can actually, can we tag on the context? Yes, we can. Recently found that code coverage parameter in invoke Pester. Kind of wish I hadn't. Yeah, I feel like the same because like I feel like I haven't fully tested all my code, but like it's yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one. I've had the same thing where I'm like, I know, okay, for like one of my modules at work, I am not even close to 70%. Like I'm probably 20%. But at the same time, though, I'm just thinking, oh, you just do it in little bits and pieces, and then basically any changes you make, you add them, those bits and pieces, and eventually you will get it to 70%. But yeah, it's easier to do it at the beginning than it is at the end. It's just gonna go. I'm just gonna go standard tests, and then down here we're just gonna put a tag of errors so we can actually just just going to call it forcing errors and standard tests. Now, is there any way in VS Code where I can actually just bypass this test without actually, because I really don't want to have to test this. Without having to run Pester, I need to be able to debug it. I'm going to try something. I'm just going to try this. I'm just going to do a return and see what happens. I think that's going to be fine, but we'll see. Tags are only effective for the outermost test group for now. Yo, yeah, I know that. That's the reason why I was like, oh. Testing for success, testing for failures. Now we're hitting pay dirt. So, we've got a breakpoint on 192. So we should see some interesting stuff happening here. Yeah. Skip? Is there a skip? Now you've intrigued me. Is there a skip? Just gonna get rid of that. I'm just quickly gonna Google it now. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Test cases, skip. Use this parameter to explicitly mark the test to be skipped. It's preferable. Temporary commenting out. The test remains less in the output. Oh, okay, so we can do it on the skip, but can we do it on the context? No, I don't think we can do it on the context, so it's only on the it. That's alright though. There's only like 3. I'm like, it's not the end of the world, it's only like 3. I should actually quickly see how it's defined before I... to be honest though, it's not even that, that's the... I also think there's a pending Pester test skip. What's an actual example of it? Use tags to include. I don't want tags. Is it skip like that? I've just never used skip before. We'll see what happens. The problem is that I just don't want to run this top part. I actually don't want to run the context block because the context block's what's actually going to be super slow. Because I'm basically building I'm building a full request and this thing takes forever to run. I'm just going to put a return here. It's super dirty. Like, it is super dirty, but I kind of, like, it needs to be on the context. It can't be on the test because it's the before all statement that's causing issues. So what we can do, I could just put a return inside the before all, realistically. That's an option. Just want to see what that response is. I don't think it's working. Actually, no, it did return. Just took its sweet ass time. Now you're going to let me breakpoint on it. Yes, okay. Now I can have a look at what the dealio is. Success is false. Well, duh. What's wrong with it? Should not be null. But that. So then what's wrong with this one? All right. Should tear it down and rebuild it. Should see nothing here. Yep, so it's tore it all down. And now it's actually reissuing the request. So what's it whinging about? Params.uri, params.body, exactly the same. What's that whinging about? Identities. No errors thrown in there. So if I put a 5 there, what's it whinging about? So result dot success. The reason why is I've got to convert it from JSON. That's easy. So what I can do there, this is like, I'm like, nah, I just shouldn't need to convert it from JSON. Like invoke, then I realized invoke web request isn't actually encapsulated and it's actually not doing that. So now I know why it's not doing that, but that's fine. So what we can do is restart you. And what we can do here is just go and just shove old matey on the end like that. So that will basically test all that, and we should have a passable test now. So if I rerun it, this should all be good to go. So step number 1, scroll to the top, hit run tests, and see how we go. Oh, it's Liontown, yeah. Yeah, that's alright. Is there any change? Orders in for now? Nope. Okay. So, we should be right now. Should be good. Should be good to go. 9 seconds to build it up, tear it down. It's a long time. I could speed this up and do an SQL query and just manually build it, but I'm actually using the existing, if we actually have a look here, we can actually see these are, oh, there we go, so it's writing errors. So I'm actually leveraging the functions themselves. Yeah. We've got a So that's perfect. That's all passed. So, so now we've got one there. Weird. Misspelled. Just correct that. Okay, I think that's it. So now I can go clean up my return, and we should actually see some test pass. And while we're doing that, I can actually start. There's nothing in that. Receive job. This one is not ready at all. Just gonna put a return there. We can actually do a start Pester on these tests, and then eventually I can put this in as a. Actually, no, I could probably put it in as a test in GitHub. This is really good. This is perfect. So I've got all my tests running. So now, if we go start Pester, is it possible to actually send job, receive job? Oh no, it's start job, send job, request jobs, send job. So now, just quickly, yep. So if I restart, it's not start Pester, it's invoke Pester, Michael. Should see all those tests, they should all pass. Okay, that's that one. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually testing the full lifecycle process. So I've basically sent a job, test that process, that's fine. Now I'm testing the receive part. So I basically created a send job, then basically testing that receive segment. What I'm doing now is I've sent a single job, and now I'm actually sending multiple jobs. So it's actually testing to make sure that that's fine. Then it's actually testing for errors. And then the final one is also the second last one, so we're past halfway now, is actually sending the job back, which is basically sending all that content back. And then it's testing the response for sending errors. And then the final part of the final fork will be testing all the outputs. So basically that entire process again, except just testing the entire output. So yeah, that's a really good win. Got another test written today. I'm actually probably going to be writing, I'm going to be probably streaming Friday again, so I'm going to aim to have that Friday done, which means then I have all my tests done, everything is great with the world, and then next week on Wednesday I can start finally smashing out the C# service, and then hopefully by the end of next week we actually have a working product. And that kind of gets me super excited. Yeah, so this is actually a really awesome outcome. So I've got my test written. So I've tested the 3 out of the 4 legs, and we just got one more leg to write tests for. And then basically we are done. Like, I'm so happy. I'm going to leave it there for today, but I'm so happy. Yeah, good win, really good win. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm quite happy with that outcome. So I've got a good win. I've got my test written. Lots and lots of tests written. And basically now we should be able to finish the final leg on Friday. We can have that test written. And then once that's done, everything will be better with the world. And then I can go ahead and write my C# service with complete confidence in my product. And then from that, we can then actually go ahead and test it. Running live code. So I'll set up a VM, I'll install the service on it, we'll basically have our PowerShell client, run a command, and we should be able to run, the way this service should work is I can actually pass a full script into it, so complete with parameters and everything, and then basically, I can basically run whatever I want. And it should be able to actually execute that. But this whole process should be able to serialize that, fob it all on up, execute it on my VM, bring it all back down, and then basically that is that. Yeah, that gets me excited. Sorry, I'm quite tired. But I'm really excited because that means that project's done. And I've kind of been getting pretty tired of this project. I'm getting pretty tired of it. But the thing is, though, it's something that needed to be done. So I do have quite a few. I do have a few like items on the go. So a couple of the other things I'm going to be working on is I've got looking at their talks. Adding ternary operators to PS Core. Adding concurrency operators to PS Core, troubleshooting Azure functions, which I think I've already done, and then I'm also going to add convert to base64 and convert from base64 as a PowerShell commandlet, which, to be honest, is literally one line of C#. So it's not much effort to do, but I use it every time. Like, I'm always serializing and deserializing. So I think I am going to add a base64 conversion. And that just also, I'm going to basically strengthen it with so that it can be used in conjunction with JavaScript's B2A. So basically, it can support extra padding and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much that. But super excited. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, guys, go and check out. Go and add yourself. Go follow the Bruce Pug channel. I'll just quickly repost the URL. So that's where I will be hosting the meetups on my channel. So basically, it's kind of going to be a host of a host. It'll be like hostception. If it's been hosted on PowerShell Live, it'll probably be a hostception. But basically, it will, definitely go check it out, because that's where all our streams are going to go. So we obviously need to get followers on that channel, so that they basically have a bit of an idea of our subscribers have a bit of, our sponsors, not our subscribers. Our sponsors have a bit of an idea in terms of how much has been made. So yeah. Compare SQL view. I think that's another one I'm going to add. I do think I've actually got that. I actually have the code, so yeah, it'll be. I actually have the code, so in terms of it'll just be it'll just be a point of actually doing a pull into and checking that specific item out, and then basically writing it to use just DBA tools as items. So then basically, writing the subsequent tests. That is, compare SQL view is one of my favorite commands. Oh, sorry, it's actually one of the favorite commands that I wrote. I had to write it for a client of ours. And what happened was they were doing a database migration, and we use Microsoft Identity Manager. And Microsoft Identity Manager, one of its sources that it uses is a database view to integrate with different technologies. So basically the view needed to be one-to-one match. It couldn't be like we're talking type, we're talking, everything. And so this was a really good report to run against the two views once we had them side by side to ensure that the integrity was intact. And sure enough, the DBA at the time just did a row count, and she was like, "Yeah, that's they're there." And I'm thinking, well, yeah, they're there. That's fantastic, but we need to make sure that character type, everything is exactly as it should be. And so I wrote this to test it, and sure enough, we did find issues, which was really good. Because at the end of the day, though, those issues, if we just obviously went live, those, that in this instance, it would as a school, those students would have been, and I think it was staff as well, would have been, they would have had some really funky stuff happen to them. So, yeah, good stuff. It's really good. But yeah, I do have a list of things I need to do. But one of my favorite, I actually really did enjoy writing it, compare SQL view, and I'm probably going to rewrite it. So it's going to keep the IPL out of. So I'll rewrite it and preserve the IPL. But it also means that I can obviously rewrite it and make it a version 2.0. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do there is. Yeah, it's gonna be packed full of commands, absolutely packed. Anyway, guys, excuse me, sorry, I just yawned. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow the BrizPug channel if you did. If you haven't, also follow me as well. It'd be really good. And I hope to see you guys on Friday. But anyway, guys, bye for now.